In this video, we will practice adding sample details to crochet pieces, learn how to use a yarn needle, and attach doll hair to amigurumi. This is how we thread a needle. First, we're going to fold the yarn so we can make it easier to thread. We'll just push that yarn through, and then we want to leave a little bit on the outside to make sure it doesn't actually come through the piece. So here we have some cookies. I did part of this one. I didn't finish this one. So we're going to use these halfway finished cookie coasters to demonstrate how to put some detail work on it. So we're going to start off with a few decorative stitches. I insert my needle. I just find a random hole to come out of. I pull it up, and then I find another nearby hole that I want to decide. So you can measure the size of your detail by how far away it is. And to make it even easier, you can do it this way. I like to sometimes just go through the first hole that I went in. So this is the hole I came out of. I find the second hole. I count how many stitches away I want to make the detail. I insert my needle again, and then I come back the same way I started. So we're gonna push the needle back up from where we came from, and it makes a nice even stitch. And then we can go ahead and decide where else we want to put it. So same kind of deal. You can also just keep on stitching, so you can just do a running stitch. I like the other one because it feels a little bit more secure, but if you want to, you can just keep inserting your needle into the next hole and then keep going around that way. So to secure my stitch, what I usually do is I have two almost equal ends of yarn. I try to go back out from the very start of my work, and I try to pull the ending yarn through. I make 2 knots. I trim away most of the excess yarn, and some people use scissors, but I like to also use the back of my needle. I push in the knot. Let's try something a little bit more complicated. So we're going to insert our needle through the side so it makes less of an impact. In this instance, we're going to actually draw with our needle. So wherever you go over is going to leave a line. So when you go over, there's a line. When you go under, there is no line. So let's just pretty much sketch out what we want. We go ahead and test it out without actually inserting our needle. And then we can go ahead and insert our needle and make a clean line. We're going to go back through and do the same concept. We kind of draw it, so we measure how it's going to be, insert our needle, and then we pull it through, and you can make a simple line. And I know these kind of look kind of simple, but I want it to look like kind of bad icing because it's supposed to be a cute little cookie that somebody made. So same kind of thing. It's really simple. We're just going to do a quick line, insert it there, and then we're going to make another line to kind of finish the roof. So you got to plan where it's going to go, insert your needle and pull through, and there we go. We have a little roof on our cookie, and hopefully we can make these into little ornaments. So then we're going to go ahead and make the windows. Same thing. We're going to measure, and we're going to draw a little bit with our yarn. We're going to keep drawing and measuring before we actually insert our needle. There we go. It shows where it's going to be. We can insert our needle, go under to make it kind of invisible. And you'll see here, you can't see it because I went underneath it. And we're going to go back over to finish the window. Just think of it as kind of like sketching something, but with yarn. So here we're going to make a little pane in the window. I'm going to go to the next section where it's located. So then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back to where I started to finish the little crisscross in the window. And also I'm going to come up where the next window should be placed, and we'll make another window. Same kind of deal. And then I always try to stop where I started so that I can go ahead and tie off and make a nice knot with the two ends. And then I'm gonna cut the excess, leave a little bit more than just the knot, and I tuck it inside of the piece so that you can't see it. And the cool thing about crochet, it just disappears. So there we go. And here we go. We have a nice little house. We're gonna let Fred demonstrate how to make freckles and spots. Let's just go ahead and let him work. You basically insert your needle, and the trick to making freckles or little beauty marks or things like that is to not pull it all the way through like you normally would with your detail work. So you kind of let some of it sit on the surface. So you carefully pull it, but not all the way through. And you insert again, and you come out of where you intend to put your next beauty mark or marking. Careful not to pull it through. Just leave a little bit on the surface. And in the end, this kind of gets locked in, so you don't have to worry about it unraveling. But remember, you go ahead and pull it through again. Don't pull it all the way through. And it's okay if you mess up, you can just go back. Once again, we have Fred to demo how to attach a wig. One reason why I prefer to have Fred do this for me is because generally this is going to be sewn through several layers, so it can be kind of hard to sew compared to other pieces. And if you don't have a lot of muscles like me, you might do well to have some flat tip pliers to help you pull the needle through if it's too hard. But since we have Fred, we're just going to make Fred go ahead and do the wig. So as you can see, he's just doing some basic stitches through the wig cap, kind of close to the base, not along the detailing because you want it to be fluid and moving. Most of these wigs don't have little lacy details at the end, so this is a kind of a different pattern, but you can see the basics. We're just following along the edge of the wig and attaching it to the head with just some simple stitches. And then the same thing, you're just gonna tie 2 little knots, and then we're gonna tuck it in. So now he's gonna put the bun on. Again, we're gonna do a few simple stitches. He anchors it by pulling it through the wig cap first, and then we're gonna slowly do stitches to attach the bun. So we're just working our way around the outside edge of this bun and securing it to the head in the correct place. So it's not really that detailed, but basically, once again, you just work through each stitch on the bun and pull it through the wig cap and connect them. And you can see again how it can be kind of difficult because of the number of layers and the cloth, but Fred is wrestling it. I'm kind of helping him by holding the doll. But if you're doing this by yourself, I would just use a pair of pliers. And some of it tends to be easier to sew than others. Like if you have some of the fluffy yarn, some chenille or something like that, it may not be as hard to use a needle. But I prefer to use cotton and worsted yarn, so it is a little bit harder to sew. There we go. So now we fluff up the little bun, and there we go. And this is her with all the extra ends tucked in.